And welcome to yet another episode of Power On Podcast Portable. Hello, everyone. I am Sushi B, and with me today, of course, is my co-host, Murugaru553, Taylor.
Yeah.
How you doing, Taylor?
I'm tired. Sleep. All right, I'm doing fine. I'm okay. How about yourself, Sushi?
I'm doing okay. Looking forward to this episode as I always am, and I think we have a bit of a interesting twist on this one. I hope you're ready.
Oh, I am.
All right, so shall we?
Let's.
Cool. All right, so today's topic for the portable episode is a kooky one, and we are putting a pair of beat-em-up games to the test against each other, and they are both trilogies, and they both come from Sega and developer AM7, and we are, of course, speaking of Golden Axe and Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Yeah! So cue your blood-curdling scream for Death Scream, and let's get it on.
I was thinking that we could probably tackle this maybe one game at a time, so to say. So maybe,
Sure.
I guess let's start with Golden Axe 1.
Sure.
You're gonna start with Golden Axe 1 there. What are your thoughts there on Golden Axe 1?
All right. Well, before we started, we sort of tried to as we like to do with the verses, kind of give each other a side to defend. And I was given Golden Axe and you were given Streets of Rage. So I tried to approach Golden Axe somewhat in that mindset, not so much of thinking about how I'm going to take down Streets of Rage, but more so of trying to think of what are the best qualities of the Golden Axe franchise. And Golden Axe, the first game, is kind of by far the most iconic game of the franchise, being that it was an arcade game before it got ported to the Genesis, and it was a very early Genesis game, so it was one of those, if you had a Genesis, you kind of really wanted this game. It was just one of those must-have titles, if you will.
Which really surprises me, because honestly, the first one is really terrible.
Well, we're talking about a game from 1989, right? It is a game, so.
Yeah, but even if it is from 89, doesn't mean that I can't hold it to some sort of standards. And
no, for sure not. But personally, it's my favorite one out of the three. Partly because it's probably the nostalgia of playing it in the arcade, and the port is pretty good considering for the Genesis. There are obviously things that are not arcade perfect, but for the most part, they did a really good job of bringing it home.
I would say I've actually never played the arcade, so I can't really comment on how much of a decent port it was or not.
Right. Yeah, but just from a graphical standpoint, they did a pretty good job. The sound quality is obviously not as good, but the characters are all there. Some things have maybe... I don't remember playing the arcade that well because it was a long time ago, but I presume a lot of it is still in place, but maybe here or there, maybe an enemy is not on the screen or something like that, just probably because of hardware issues. But again, as I said, for the most part, they did an excellent job of capturing the spirit of the arcade game and bringing it home. And now you don't have to dump tons of quarters in it to beat it.
As I would say, as a whole, I thought really that the first Golden Axe game was kind of difficult. I don't know if I just really suck at it, but
right.
I
could see that.
For me, it felt really, really unjust to get completely gangbanged by two stupid Skeletor wannabe monsters.
Those damn skeletons, right?
Yeah, well, that just like even just the normal enemies.
Yeah.
Or just the original standard enemies that you get. If you get caught in between two of them, you are going to lose a lot of health.
Yeah.
And I was kind of really, I really did not like that. The game played smooth, I thought. I was kind of surprised at how smooth it was because of it being from '89. However, I just did not really, I really didn't like it. I felt like the stages were incredibly short.
Yeah.
Really, really, really early on, just kind of really short, and something about the playable characters really felt like they were missing something. I don't. There's some sort of not an, I don't know, other than like your dash shoulder attack if you're the wannabe Conan.
Right, the axe battler.
Right. There's other than your double tap dash attack, it felt like you're really kind of constricted in your range of attack, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, you have to get pretty close to the enemies if you want to take them down. If you learn to really start to utilize that jump attack where you jump and swing the swords or the axe if you're the dwarf, you can really sort of just cheese the system quite a bit by doing that. Because you can kind of stand in the middle, as you said, when the two enemies come towards you in the middle, you can jump one way and knock one guy down and then kind of right away jump the other way and knock the other guy down too, and just keep doing that until they die. There are a few cases where they might do something that will negate that, but generally speaking, you can just keep doing that.
It seems like cheese in there. Sorry.
Sure, it is. But with the way the enemies cheese the crap out of you, as you said, you'll get stuck between it's always those damn skeletons. The main enemies, they do beat you up, they do. But it's the skeletons. There's something about those skeletons. They don't seem that fast. They don't seem overly overpowered, but they just have some weird techniques that always sort of catch you. They have that weird little mini hop attack where they swing the sword sort of, and it just catches you every time. That kind of stuff. They're really aggravating. There's nothing more satisfying than when you know the game really well and you know that you can just move in certain ways so that the enemies just fall off the screen. Mm-hmm. That's so satisfying to me. When there's that, I forget if it's stage 4 when you come off that eagle and then you have to fight 3 skeletons right at the start.
Right.
And if you just drop straight down, 2 of them just fall off right away. And then you can just get the other guy to jump, like run at you, and then he just flies off the screen if you move out of the way. I love that. That's one of my favorite things about Golden Axe, is just how clumsy the enemies can be at times. They just have no sort of boundaries of, whoa, seems like a dangerous idea. They just fly at you and they go all over the place.
I will say that like the maps, I didn't mind so much the areas. The thing that kind of really made me dislike some of it was that how easy it is to fall off if you're new to the game. You might really mistake something and then just kind of fall off and die. Which I don't mind so much. That's how you learn how to play the game. It's just something that you're kind of like, oh hey, shit, I've fallen off, kind of thing.
Right.
It can be a little just wonky to kind of be like, okay, I shouldn't fall here or something. I mean, there are pits and stuff, and you're like, oh well, I'll just jump over this kind of thing. But
it's kind of that cheapness that the arcade games had to always put in, right? Because they wanted you to fall in a pit and dump in another quarter.
Right. And I mean, it wasn't like horrifically like, oh my god, what am I doing? I can't understand what,
Right.
That and the magic.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't mind that so much. I thought that was kind of neat. However, how it's implemented in the other games, how it's implemented, not how well it does, but how it's implemented in the other Golden Axe games, I liked.
Right.
Whereas when you collect more of those magic bottles, and in Golden Axe 1, you just use the special attack and boom,
done.
You're gone. If you have like the really really super.
Shot your load and can't reload.
Right. But it's great for when you have maxed out magic bottles and you are up against bosses and you just, all right, fuck this. And
right. I mean, the magic is pretty useful, but as you said, it's really annoying sometimes that you can't really waste it. You know that if you waste it, you have to collect the bottles to power it up again, and it just kind of sucks, right? There's no sort of any other special attacks, so if you're trapped in between those two guys, you don't have some sort of clearing attack that a lot of other beat 'em ups have, where you can push the 2 buttons together and you'll do like a spinning kick or something that'll put them away from you, like in Final Fight or what have you. I don't know why Golden Axe has never really had that. They started to sort of add that as the series goes on, but we'll get into that later.
Right.
But in this one, they didn't really go to that effect. I mean, the axe battler, the Conan guy, has that weird, if you push the buttons together, he does that spin attack, but he hits behind himself, which I always thought was really weird. I was like, why the hell does he spin and then swing the other way? So you basically have to walk away from enemies to use it effectively. And it's actually really powerful, but it's just really annoying.
Mm.
I think the girl has the same thing, right? I can't remember. I hardly ever use her. She just gets killed too easily.
Yeah, I think she does, but
I think she has the same. The dwarf guy, the Gilius Thunderhead, he has that weird roll attack,
right.
which is even more useless because because you have to get so close all the time to the enemies. He just rolls and he just kind of lunges, but it's always behind them, and it doesn't make any sense. It's just clumsy.
Yeah, it is a little bit clumsy, and that's kind of how I feel about the whole Golden Axe 1 experience, is that you're clumsily groping through medieval, well, not medieval, but kind of barbaric times.
That's fair enough. Well, why don't we move on from Golden Axe then? And
yes, so from Golden Axe 1 to Streets of Rage 1. Yeah.
Yeah, Streets of Rage.
Yeah,
nice.
And this game automatically wins because of its,
I know why. I know why. Can I say why? I'm pretty sure I know why.
I think you do know why. Why?
It's because the police car that comes in bazookas the shit out of everything on the screen.
Absolutely not. The reason why is because before you're even playing the game, during its little dialogue bit, the last line is just amazing. They are willing to risk anything. And then it's like ... even their lives ... on the ... Streets of Rage.
That's a pretty awesome opening. You can't deny that. And I know you don't like Sega's cheese factor a lot of the time, but even you said you got a chuckle out of that. So
I did get a chuckle out of that. I mean,
it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty funny opening.
It's pretty great.
Couple that in with the great title theme song, you got a really cool opening.
That is true. I do have to say I question the city, because I don't think there's a freaking name for it, but I question the city's police department, because Adam, Alex, and Blaze, the three characters that are in the first one, they're all ex-cops by the time
ex-cops.
21, 22, 23.
Well, it's because Axel's too busy playing video games. That's what it said his hobby was.
Right, yeah, he's too busy playing video games, yeah.
I forget what Adam and Blaze's are. Blaze was maybe, or Adam's is bonsai trees maybe or something? I forget.
I think
about
so.
Right?
That sounds right. I don't remember.
I forget.
Though.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, it's pretty funny that it has their hobby and stuff on there.
Yeah, and they give some like different fighting styles. Like one's boxing, one's
right,
karate, and then the other one's judo or something. I think
Blaze is judo. Yeah.
So even though I was knocking on Golden Axe 1, I definitely feel that that's a more a smoother game.
Right.
Where Streets of Rage 1 is a very slow-paced beat-em-up, I think.
Yeah.
There's no dashing. It feels like they have like bricks in their pockets or something.
Yeah, they're definitely chugging along.
Yeah, but there's a lot of I like a lot of the stuff they do. Something I guess we forgot to mention for Golden Axe 1 is in between levels, there's like kind of a bonus stage.
Right.
And they don't have that in Streets of Rage. However, they have a lot of chances to get health by apples and chicken from trash cans. But
yeah, of course.
Of course.
Barrels, telephone booths.
There's the oil drums and stuff.
Right. Or just randomly sitting on the street.
Right.
They are the Streets of Rage, after all. Hey, there's a chicken wing.
Totally. But there is plenty of opportunity to get weapons in the game, which I like. Because even though the first one, even though you pick up a weapon, you can still grab enemies and have that weapon, which was fantastic. Because they kind of dropped that in the later games, which made me cry.
Sad.
It did. It slightly made me sad. But even though it was a slower game, it felt like there was more depth to its fighting than I would say with Golden Axe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, what kind of things do you want to kind of point out for?
Well, definitely in that regard. I mean, when it comes to the fighting, obviously you can just walk up and try to punch or kick guys, but you already mentioned that you can grab. And as well as not only can you grab, but you can grab people from either the front or the back. You can kind of flip over them to do a different technique. Maybe if you grab them from the back and flip over to the front, you'll kind of just slam them face first into the ground, or you can knee them in the face and then throw them, or You can do a sort of back throw where they go flying into other enemies and things like that. So there definitely is a lot more depth, as you said already. Weapons kind of add to that as well. You have some pretty cool weapons for a game that came out in, was it 1991? I like my two favorite are the bottle. I like how the bottle smashes the first time when you hit people. And I like the pepper spray that you just kind of throw.
Throw it? Yeah, I playing it, you wouldn't know what in God's name that was. You're
It's just
like,
this
is that
little...
like a stink bomb or something? Because like when it hits the enemy, they kind of convulse. I don't know if they're like...
Yeah, it's just this weird smoke cloud comes out of nowhere. I'm surprised they didn't have goofy things like lighters and stuff you could just throw at people and they'd catch fire and stuff. But yeah, no, definitely.
Just lots of other weapons and
yeah, sticks, pipes, and bats, stuff like that. If you can hang on to those weapons, you can do quite a bit of damage too. It can be difficult to hold on to them because a lot of the enemies have these really cheap sort of just movement patterns. You have those guys in the yellow coats.
Oh yeah, those guys are so annoying. They're either
always just keep sliding around and they're hard to hit, and then they'll just come up from behind you and throw you.
Right.
And if it's not them, then you have those karate guys that sort of come towards you, but then they might flip back and then slide forward and kick you like 3 times. Not the guys in the gray, but the later on guys in the red that are basically the same.
Right. Just different.
They have a few, a little bit stronger and a lot more annoying. But yeah, we didn't actually touch upon like the bosses in Golden Axe, but I mean, there's not too much to say. There's a lot of repetitive bosses, but Golden Axe has at least, maybe about 4 different bosses at least? Sorry to go back to Golden Axe.
Yeah,
like
4
those
or 5?
knights. Those knights, you got those huge fat dudes with the sledgehammers.
Yeah.
Oh, those guys are slow. Usually you can just waste those guys. Who else? Obviously you have Death Adder, who's the main villain.
Right.
A sort of secret villain at the end.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Who's quite a bit of a bastard. He's pretty tough.
He's not friendly.
No. But anyways, back to Streets of Rage, you sort of get a bit of that as well, where you do have some new enemies, but they'll kind of get regurgitated along the way as well, just with color scheme or whatever. But you have guys like the slashing guy.
Which is a prick. I hate that dude so much.
There's a really easy technique for that guy, though. As I told you, if you just walk at the bottom or the top of the screen, he just walks back and forth, and you can just walk straight down and grab him and throw him.
He's still just a prick, especially when there's 2 of them.
Two of them is harder for sure.
I think probably the worst one of the bosses from Streets of Rage is that fucking fire-breathing fat ass. I swear to Christ, that dude just... I hate that. Like I cannot stand that. The amount of vitriol that just flows through my body when that ass.
I'll tell you the secret on him too. Basically, you can't use Adam against that guy because Adam is way too slow. But with Blaze and Axel, when that guy is about to charge up his fire, if you just walk straight, as fast as you can, just walk straight, that guy just goes right behind you, and you can turn around right away and just beat the shit out of him. And just keep doing that over and over, and that's how you beat him without getting even hit.
Yeah, see,
it's tough.
I do better with Adam than I do with the other 2.
Adam is probably, as a whole, the best character, but he's also, when you get to the later parts of the game, you start to realize how difficult it is to beat the game with him. Yeah. Because he's just so slow, and just his techniques. Remember how we were laughing about he has this combo where he punches and punches, and then he kicks the guy way across the screen, and the guy
awesome.
It's awesome, but later on in the game, that really starts to hurt you because those guys disappear and you can't see when they come back on screen, and they usually beat the crap out of you. Because there's multiple guys on the screen, right? And he's just a little too slow, especially for like those Blaze clones that you fight, those enemies. He's really slow, and he can't really do much against them because they're too fast. But as a whole, I think Streets of Rage, as you said, Golden Axe has a nice flow to it. Mm-hmm. But something about Streets of Rage, it doesn't flow perfectly, but it fits well. It's like a weird puzzle that shouldn't really fit, but it does.
Yeah, it's a very, for a first step, it's a little, okay, that's okay, all right,
Yeah. It's rough around the edges. It really is. But I still really, really enjoy the game a lot. There's just something about it that makes it really fun. It's probably got a lot to do with the music, too.
The music is great, whereas in Golden Axe, I found it quite shitty. I'm not going to lie. I really did not like it.
I'm going to get into shitty Golden Axe music in a minute, but I think of all the music in Golden Axe, the first one at least has the kind of iconic music, And it's, again, probably coming from playing it in the arcade, right? Standing there and having that booming soundtrack, that din, 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 like that first stage, and just trying to get through that. I think that there's a lot to do with that for me personally, but I'll definitely go into how shitty the music in Golden Axe gets from that point on. So, but Streets of Rage is very much so a much better composed series. Maybe the best composed beat 'em up series ever.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think it's, a lot of people would probably say that that's the truth. It's good enough that I went out and bought the damn CD set. I bought the Yuzo Koshiro Volume 2 CD set specifically for the Streets of Rage soundtracks. It's that good.
Well, I'm not gonna argue with it. It's a great, like all have really good.
But yeah, okay, well that's probably good.
Yeah,
to Rage. Let's jump into
Golden Axe 2.
Golden Axe 2. Golden Axe 2 is a bit disappointing for me for a couple of reasons. There was a Golden Axe 2 that came out in the arcade, and it's something like Golden Axe 2: The Revenge of Death Adder, which unfortunately was like a huge game and could just never possibly come out for the Genesis. It was just, the sprites were huge, it had so many enemies on the screen kind of thing. It had some awesome mounts in it. It had this scorpion with a tail that would shoot electricity and stuff. It was an awesome game. It was really fun. It had 4 players. Really, really cool game. But unfortunately, that is not the game we got for the Genesis there. We ended up getting just Golden Axe 2, which isn't a terrible game, but you definitely get progression from Golden Axe 1. They tighten up a lot of the loose ends that the first game kind of suffers from. But at the same time, there's something about Golden Axe 2 that's just not likable to me. I don't know if you'd agree.
I'm actually on the opposite side of that, because I thought that Golden Axe 2 was a better progression. Well, it was just a better, it was not better, I wouldn't say, it was just a great progression from 1 to 2 for me, because I didn't play any of the arcades, so.
Right.
To me, I thought it had better music, the backgrounds were a lot nicer, it wasn't as fiendishly hard or
yeah, Golden Axe 2 was pretty easy, actually. I was surprised.
Yeah, it was actually pretty easy, and it was kind of go with your flow. It felt like.
Right.
The change to the magic, I liked, even though the magic was weak as crap.
It was really weak. It was basically meant to just defend yourself. Yeah. That's basically all it was. If you were near an edge or something and you were thinking the guys were going to knock you off, it was just use the magic. And I guess we should mention, with the magic, now you can charge it.
Right.
So if you wanted to be full power, you could go max power. If you just
full power would be like shooting a freaking water gun at a cactus. That would be about as effective as what you're doing.
It would be dry in about 5 seconds. So. Yeah. I mean, that's true. But yeah, it was just sort of defensive, which is weird. The thing I didn't like about the charge system is it's a bit unreliable. Like if you wanted to try to make your magic a little bit stronger by using it halfway, sometimes you would just get caught and it would just do level 1, or it would just go and it would level up all the way. It was a little uneven with that.
Yeah, it was really meh. And I didn't mind the presentation so much when going from different level to level, where it had the orb kind of going for it.
Yeah, the orb instead of the map from the first game.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I was kind of like,
it's okay. Yeah. I liked the map a bit more. The map, it looked kind of cool that it was drawing the animals that you were supposedly walking through and stuff. But yeah, the orb is okay. But
it was just different. Weird. It was just different.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about Golden Axe 2. I mean, I really didn't enjoy it that much. It's not a terrible game, though. But it really isn't. It's still a fun game if you want to play with a friend. I think maybe even more so than the first game. Probably the second game for me felt like it would be a lot more fun to sit down with a buddy and hack your way through it. The thing is, again, in this one, the Gilius Thunderhead, the dwarf, he's still like by far the best character in both 1 and 2. Like the Axe Battler guy's got his moments, but because of his kind of crappy range, he just gets caught all the time. And now you've got these new enemies, like you've got those guys with the claws. So if you try to jump at them now, they can swing up at you and kind of take you down. And there's a few, they added a couple other guys, but I forgot. They took out my buddy, the mustache guy. The guy, I love that guy, the bald guy with the mustache and that crappy mace. And I love that guy. So, but yeah, I mean, Golden Axe 2 is still, as you said, it's a pretty good progression.
I felt it was actually a good progression for it.
Yeah.
However, it has the unfortunate duty of going against Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah, it sure does. It really does.
And
I
that's
definitely drew the short end of the stick for this challenge because even though I like Golden Axe, it's pretty obvious that we're both gonna have to side with Streets of Rage. It's just one of those facts, unfortunately.
Facts of life.
I wouldn't say it's a fact of life because there's definitely going to be people out there that'll definitely tell you that they really enjoy Golden Axe a lot more than Streets of Rage. But for me and obviously for you, it's just not the case. So,
Well, yeah, as I say, Streets of Rage 2. What can be said?
it pretty much, as fun and likable as Streets of Rage 1 is, it just destroys it in pretty much every way. Except for me, except for the music. As much as I like 2's music, there's something about the first game's music that feels really raw and energetic, whereas 2's is much more refined.
It seems more, 2 has a bit of a, kind of trance vibe to it, or more?
Yeah, but I mean, you could say the first game has that. It's a bit techno-y. Certain levels definitely are very techno-y in the first game.
Maybe not the right word I want to use then.
Yeah, no, I get what you're thinking.
Club,
I think it feels
clubbish?
more refined to me. It just feels like it's been fine-tuned a lot more. I don't know if that is the actual case, but it feels like it to me. It feels a lot cleaner, not as just blah, here it is. Like something about the first game just feels like it was just thrown in right away. Like it didn't get tuned up or anything. It was just, here's the track, throw it in, don't remaster it, don't do anything with it. This is what we want.
Uh-huh.
That's just my opinion. I like the soundtrack of 2 a lot. There's that first track of Stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good track. And one thing I noticed was really weird about Streets of Rage, tracks 1, 3, 4, and 7 are always like these upbeat, let's go punch somebody in the face type tempo. And then the other tracks can be if they're, but they're all kind of all over the place otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you found that as well. It's just like a weird thing that I kind of
I didn't
noticed.
Quite take the. I didn't quite notice that. It wasn't.
Yeah.
What popped into mind. What I did like that they introduced into is that they have the actual health bar for the bad guys.
Yeah, that's nice.
That helps me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't know, being able to see how much unholy hell I am unleashing upon these peons is always great.
It makes it a little more strategic too, right? Like.
Oh yeah, because you could be like, okay, I'm gonna beat up on this guy. Oh well, he's
right.
he's done. Okay, gonna turn my attentions to these jerk offs that are trying to.
Let's beat down Brown and Donovan, or I can't think of they're just goofy names. And
Garcia isn't kind of one, or something like that.
Yeah.
Freaking, it's great when you hit those people too, especially with the pipe and just there's tiny little health bars.
Giant sound. Doesn't even sound like how anything would sound if you got hit with a pipe. It
doesn't matter. It's all right. It crushes people's faces, and
yeah,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure.
I was about to say, go.
Oh, I was just going to mention, obviously there's a big graphical increase. You get bigger sprites, much more colors. Yeah, that's what I'm going to throw out there.
I would say another thing that they do that I like is that it's multiple areas per stage.
Yeah.
So you'll go through, like one really good example would be the kind of the carnival stage.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Which, where you're going through kind of a pirate theme and then like an alien theme.
And then just the regular outside grounds of the carnival. And
right.
Yeah, you get a little more variety for sure. That's for sure. In a lot of ways, you know what was weird to me, though, as I was playing Streets of Rage 2, and this probably is a lot to do with the fact that it only comes out about a year after Streets of Rage 1. It felt like Streets of Rage 1 was almost incomplete. And Streets of Rage 2 took everything from Streets of Rage 1 and made the graphics better, tried to refine the music, tighten up the gameplay, do all of those things, and just basically be Streets of Rage 1 plus to me in a lot of ways. It's really weird because if you look at it, there's some reoccurring bosses that come up again. There's only a few bosses that are different. The last guy's the same, pretty much like in every way. Just graphics are better. Enemies look a little bit different, but you're kind of playing the same game in a lot of ways.
In some ways, but you know what 2 has that 1 doesn't?
Max?
Yeah! Max!
Yeah, I like Max, but Max is better with 2 players, I think.
Adam goes bye-bye, so you have Alex, Blaze, Adam's bro, Skate.
Is it his nephew or his brother? I thought it was his nephew.
I thought it was his younger brother.
They're related in some way.
Yeah. And Max.
Max just comes out of nowhere. He's just like, I'll beat up guys.
He's this freaking, like, what, isn't he like a wrestler or something?
He's a wrestler, yeah.
Yeah, so he's just
a wrestler.
A meathead he's so damn slow. He's so damn slow. Like, you could make the Death Star out of a fucking Lego set quicker than you could probably beat the game with Max. He is so awesome.
He's fun to play. That's what I mean. I think with 2 players, he's a lot more fun to play with because he's slow. And if you have someone maybe play as Blaze is a good balanced character. If you have someone like that. Skate's not that balanced, though. His range sucks. I don't know. He's okay, but I don't really like using him. But Max, if you have him sort of in the back and obviously someone up in the front, and if you just kind of throw the guys towards Max and he does that thing where he grabs them and he looks like he's just like twisting their neck.
Right.
Like, rah, rah, and then they just die. It can be really fun. But aside from grabs and throws, he can't do shit.
He's a wrestler. What do you expect from him?
His chop move is really shitty. He's got that crappy slide attack, which never knocks anybody down. You'd think it would because he's huge, but it doesn't do anything. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want to beat this game, though, the only thing you need to do is pick Axel and continually do the bare knuckle attack, and you'll just destroy this game. It's not even funny how bad you destroy this game with Axel. Like, it's ridiculously easy with Axel.
Yeah, Axel does make it pretty. He nerfs the hell out of the game.
Oh, yeah. He definitely toned him down later on, but in this game, he is just a beast.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was kind of meh in the first one, so...
Yeah, he's just average in the first one. I mean, he is the middle character, right, in the first game, so... But, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know why they decided to power him up so damn badly, but... It's cool now you've instead of the car coming and bombing the hell out of everyone, which is awesome, but unfortunately a bit unuseful because once you use it, you're done, right?
Right, or cough, cough, final stage, you can't...
Yeah, you're kind of toasted. So in this one, at least now you have 2 different sort of attacks. You can push forward and your special attack, and you'll do, depending on the character, they have some sort of move. Like Axel has this sort of combo that he does. Blaze has this fireball type attack, which is really good, actually. Mm-hmm. What's Skate? Skate has that thing where he just swings his arms wildly.
Does he ever do that, like, kind of, he hops in the air? Isn't that one of them? Or
he like
does that little helicopter kick.
That's his one if you don't push forward. That's like a screen move, like if he's in trouble. But if you push forward, I think he does that thing where he just charges forward and swings his fists. Max's is not coming to my mind. Actually, I can't remember what his.
Does he do like a? He does like a kind of like a shoulder check kind of thing.
Yeah, elbow drop or something. Oh, he does a shoulder check. That's right. It's like if you're really close to somebody, it does massive damage.
Right.
And it has like a roll, and that kick can also hit things too. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, but that's a really good addition that they added that really helps give you a bit more advantage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, were we missing anything else that they've added? It's fun. It's an awesome game. It's so well put together. It's one of the best beat 'em up games probably ever, as we've already kind of mentioned. Mm-hmm. And it's just really fun. It's pretty easy. You can obviously jack the difficulty if you want to. You can just pick it up at any time and just have a blast with it. Anytime.
And that leads us to... Golden Axe 3.
This game.
Fuck you.
Fuck Golden Axe 3, seriously.
Fuck you, seriously.
Oh, man. Golden Axe 3. Seriously. Oh. Did you like that game?
Actually, it's my favorite of the 3.
Is it really?
Yeah, I liked it.
It's clunky. It's slow. It's shitty. There's so many things I don't like about it. The magic system, I felt the magic system, like it went back to being shitty again. At least in 2, the charge system, I thought was at least a good idea. In this one, they're back to just you waste your potions again.
Right.
I mean, there are levels to it, but it doesn't really help much. The magic is, again, pretty
Magic is pretty crappy.
It's maybe crapper than 2, actually. And that's saying something, because 2's is pretty weak. In this one, you get caught, and if you use magic, it's going to do nothing for you.
Yeah, you're better off not even using it.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Axe, a lot of them, all 3 games suffer from sort of detection problems when it comes to getting close, hitting enemies. Mm-hmm. 3 by far was the worst.
I see. I didn't really have as much issue with it. For me, it played a much better. I don't think it was as great as progression from 1 to 2, but I think there was at least a little bit to it. I think what also kind of helped make it a little bit more interesting was the fact that when you beat levels, you had like a choice kind of thing,
Right.
which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That was sort of in the arcade one that I mentioned earlier, like Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder. They had that in the arcade game. So it was
Okay.
cool that they had brought it into 3. 3 is really weird that it never got released in North America. I remember reading it was on the Sega Channel, but it only actually got a cart release in Japan,
Huh.
which is interesting. I don't know why. I would presume that Golden Axe 1 and 2 sold good enough for them to think that
Well, this is Sega we're talking about, so.
it is, but Sega is not really known too much for kind of just not releasing games and stuff. They're not really bad for that, generally speaking. But I don't know why they would just think that Golden Axe 3 wasn't, I don't know, good
I don't
enough
know.
to be released. It's really strange.
It is a weird game. I like the presentation of it. It felt more like it, along with 2, but a little bit more than 2. It felt more kind of grounded in the setting as opposed to one felt very, understandably so, it felt very bare, and
Right.
2 definitely really spruced that up. But 3,
Uh-huh.
I think, added a lot of kind of small details that kind of really,
Are you talking about just graphically or?
just like presentation, graphically, kind of the backgrounds and.
I definitely agree. The backgrounds that start showing some scaling things and that sort of stuff. But as a whole, the environments are really boring to me. They lacks any sort of energy. They don't really give me any sort of mental picture in my mind. Even right now, I can't even think of a lot of, there's a desert. There's like a mountain.
More desert.
Yeah, and more desert. Even there's a jungle part that doesn't really feel like jungle because the colors are so drab and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's a lot of things I just really disliked about 3, and it's interesting that you liked it. But I mean, there are some things I did like. I like that now you have a health bar. I thought that was a nice touch. You
That was a
can
nice
get
touch.
lives now. You can get free lives by rescuing prisoners,
Hmm.
which is a bit hit or miss though too, because it's just so random that you might find prisoners suddenly and get lucky because you need 5 to get a free life.
Right.
You might take a path that has 2 the entire way through kind of thing. So I'm not even gonna lie. I got really far in 3 for the last 3 days. I've been really busy for, well, a number of days now, and I haven't had a chance to really focus and fight my way through it. But last night and a few days before, I got to the last stage, and there's those Minotaur dudes with the 4 arms, and those guys are really tough to fight.
They are pretty brutal.
They have all kinds of techniques to just negate everything you can do,
They're
basically.
4-armed minotaurs. What do you
They
expect?
are, and they're huge. They're way bigger than you. But you try to do your sort of dash attack. They just do this spin move that knocks you out of the way. You try to do your sort of special attack, which I personally like using the Panther guy, who apparently, from what I've read, is supposedly the strongest character in the game. And I found he had a name too. I wrote it down here somewhere. I can't seem to find it, but he had a name, and it's something.
Puman. It's got to be Puman.
I was hoping it was going to be Manther. It wasn't Manther. He's like a man panther or something. I can't seem to find it. Oh, I found his name. It's Kronos, and then in quotations, evil rate. That's supposed to be his name, apparently. Kronos, evil in quotations, rate. I was like, what?
I'm sure that wasn't like a
Makes
memo
sense.
that didn't actually get.
Maybe, and they just tacked it on as his name. Like, oh, yeah, this is Kronos. Evil. He's evil.
Rates.
And then there's like a big barbarian dude, and his name is Proud Cragger. These names are ridiculous. Like, they're
That's
so
what made
bad.
me- I enjoyed it for that too. I was.
I don't know, but
I
3...
guess as the
it's
older
just-
as I've gotten, I've enjoyed more of the cheese factor.
Oh, I do too. I do love the cheese in a way, but
It's-
just I think 3 is kind of sloppy.
But the guy
There's,
over here,
there's elements
your
there that are
Viking
good.
dude too.
Which guy?
What the hell's his name? He's
Gilius Thunderhead?
he's
Oh, yeah, now he's just the sage or whatever.
right.
Well, even I guess the Axe Battler and the Tigress Flare, that's not the same characters. It's supposedly 2 new characters.
So their friend Alex isn't dead.
I don't know. Apparently, though, that they just they look identical to the other characters. They're supposed to be different characters. Did you see the box art for it? by any chance?
No, I didn't.
And how, well, anyways, the guy on the cover looks exactly like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Conan the Barbarian. He has the sword. It's the exact sword. Like, it's detailed exactly the same. His face looks like him and everything. And it's a really cheesy cover.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's really cheesy. All the Golden Axe covers are pretty damn cheesy.
I would not.
At least North American ones. I'm not sure about the Japanese ones, but they're pretty bad. They don't look very good. Very much in that sort of 80s muscle man, barbarian style painting. Boris Valerio, I think, is a name of the...
I think
is that... Yeah, very famous. I guess he's a painter, right? I presume that those are paintings, or at least artist. And he did a lot of that stuff in the 80s and the early 90s. And the Fabio covers kind of thing, that kind of stuff. I don't know, Golden Axe 3 just did not do it for me. It's just... I like the idea of the Manther, or the man that's a panther or whatever, but
human
as a whole, it's just clumsy. And that stupid eagle guy or whatever he is just like, whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm interested that you did like 3, though.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it just I liked it a bit more. I liked 2 too, but
yeah,
I seemed to, when I was playing through it, I felt more joy playing 3 than I did 2. I don't know why. It just kind of, for whatever reason, it can't explain it.
Yeah. Well, and 3 luckily still has the cheapness of the other ones with those Amazon chicks that do that jump and swing their ball and chain, and
yeah.
Then the stupid. We don't quite get the skeletons. We get these lizard skeleton guys, who for the most part aren't terrible, but if they catch you, you're in trouble if they catch you again.
Right, yeah. They're not as horrible as the skeletons from 1.
Right.
The skeletons.
Even the skeletons in 2 were tough, but not brutal.
Not fiendish.
At the end of the game in 1, they even get a ranking of only attack B and defense B or something.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah, they're even supposed to be ranked as the highest enemies. And I don't get it, because they are far and away the most annoying and difficult things to fight in the entire first game. Really strange to me. I don't know. But enough about Golden Axe 3. Let's wrap up.
Streets of Rage 3!
So,
this is the one I did not like at all out of the 3 Streets of Rage games.
Okay, I understand that.
I don't know if it was just because you had 1 which was really, really good, and then you had 2 which was absolutely amazing, and then I didn't even feel like it came close to matching it in ways. First off, Zahn, what the fuck? Like, that dude, I was so sad that they got rid of Max and put in this.
Well, just think of how many people were sad that they put in Max and took out Adam, though, too.
But they had Skate. Skate was
Skate was nothing like Adam, though. Not even close to being like Adam. They're completely different.
I know they are, but
Zahn is a tough character to kind of get. Yeah, weird. I don't know. He is weird. He is weird, but
like a cyborg.
He is a cyborg of some sort, and I'm not really sure where. Obviously, they went to put him in because of the story, because it does revolve a lot around robots and cyborgs and things. So I guess they wanted to have some sort of connection. It would have been weird for them to just say, and now you guys are going to fight robots on the Streets of Rage, which they could have done, and we would have enjoyed still, right?
We would have been fine with it.
But they really tried to put in a story aspect into this game. And the story is interesting enough for a beat 'em up. I mean, you're not going to get a hell of a lot there, but it does give you different endings as a result with what they did. And I don't know, I can see where you're coming from with 3. It is, to me, also the weakest link of the series, not in every way, but in a lot of ways. It doesn't help the fact that, for whatever reason, that the North American version, and I presume because you were playing, I guess, the PAL version, right?
Whatever version I got that's on that.
Because yours is the Mega Drive collection, right? And mine is like the Genesis collection, just by name. So I presume it's the PAL version or whatnot. But I don't know if yours was nearly as difficult as my version, but I've read that the North American version is fiendishly harder than the Japanese version, which, by, I guess, comparison, normal on the North American setting is still more difficult than the hard setting on the Japanese version. Which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I've discussed this already with you. I don't know why they would kind of go to the trouble of trying to upscale the game. I don't really understand. But
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd thing to do. I was kind of surprised that when you told me that, I was like, what? That's kind of not necessarily the notion of, you know, usually Japanese games are harder, that kind of thing.
right.
I never really kind of bought into that. But
Yeah, but I mean that can be the case, and it just depends on the game, right? Sometimes the Japanese version is harder, and sometimes the North American version is harder. But after Streets of Rage 1 and 2, just kind of, 1 is difficult but not impossible. 2 is on the easier side.
it's
For some
kind of
reason,
easy.
just
But
decided 3, we have to destroy people with this one, and it really did. I mean, it's a hard game.
it is hard. I liked what they added with the movement, because now you can kind of roll to
Right.
excuse me, to like the forefront, or you know, you can kind of roll.
Roll away.
Well, no, like you can roll like down and up, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. To get out of the way. If you're on a plane with an enemy and
Right.
say they have a gun or something and they shoot at you, you can roll up now to get out of the way. Instead of before, you had to try to just lumber and walk forward or try to just go up very slowly to get out of the way. Now you can very quickly get out of the way.
Right, which I did like that addition, but
Yeah, that was nice. I liked it. Did you not like that they added the ability to have a sort of free special attack with this charge bar, that they took out the timer bar, which I liked. I liked that there was no more timer bar.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it affects the game in the sense that you won't lose health to use it one time, but you will use some health if you keep using it, which happened in the second game. If you used it any time, you
Right.
use some health. So I like it. I mean, it somewhat gives you a bit of strategy on some bosses and stuff, because maybe you can move around and then wait till they're in a position and then use your special attack
Right.
and then repeat and keep doing that and
yeah,
never
it's a
lose
bit
health.
more of a it's kind of like a what the hell? It's like a kind of keeping your distance kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it was a good addition. It's just enough to not unbalance the game, which is already tipped in the computer's favor by a lot in a lot of the battles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it is too bad. It's, to me, I feel that it was weird that they changed the color scheme of the characters. Why is Axel suddenly wearing Adam's clothes?
He stole them.
Like, did Blaze take her clothes to the wash and the red got washed out or something? I don't quite.
Yeah.
And Skate, I think, looked the same. He might have had a few minor changes to his look, but he basically looked the same, if I recall. Well, I mean, he had his color scheme, I guess, changed too, right? He had a red shirt on instead of a yellow one or whatever. But I mean, most of the enemies are pretty much the same models from 2. I mean, a lot of them are just regurgitated from 2. You do get a few guys like these. What is it, McLeod and
the kind of the agents.
the
looking.
agent goofs that just shoot and throw you. That's all they can do.
Yeah, and they're
Those ninja guys from the second one, like those, they kind of look like samurai type guys that were sort of from the first game as well.
mm-hmm.
They're a little bit different in this one. Now they have this big punkish hair, and they're kind of the same attacks and stuff for the most part, though. You still get the fat guys that breathe fire.
Of course, because we sure can't have Streets of Rage without fat asses.
Right. I mean, there's a lot more secrets in 3 as well. There's 2 secret characters. 3, I guess, for the Japanese one. There's secret spots where you can get free lives and things like that, but it doesn't seem to help enough, at least in the North American version again. But I don't know. 3 definitely tried to expand the series. There's definitely a feeling of that, but it just doesn't feel like it did enough.
Yeah, you definitely could say that they at least tried to expand on the game,
Yeah.
or at least on the series, but yeah, they
Fall short somewhat.
they fall short. Not in like a really like, oh well, this is a pile of shit short.
No.
It's just like it's just
missing.
not as it's just not as got the, it doesn't have it.
Yeah, it really does. Something is missing there, unfortunately, and like, I don't know. For me, I think partly for me was the music. It
Music
doesn't
is
really. Yeah, it feels so industrial and really. Where the first game is very raw, but it's got the techno feel. The second game is refined and techno feel. This one has a techno feel, but it goes very robotic and industrial.
It's got no soul.
It's not that it's got no soul. It feels very different. Very few things carry over from the previous games. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else we can say about 3. It's still fun to try to play with a friend. It still is. Don't kind of go into it thinking, oh, it's a terrible game. It's not. It's produced well.
Oh yeah, the production's for it's really well done.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
Just not
just lacking something. It just doesn't have this sort of imprint. Maybe that's the problem because of 2 being so good, right?
That's a possibility.
It's probably part of it. So yeah, I think hands down, it sounds like we know who kind of came out on top in that battle.
The Streets of Rage.
For me, I've got 1 good Golden Axe game and 2, one that I don't mind and one that I really dislike. And then Streets of Rage, 2 games I really, really, really like and 1 I don't mind.
Yeah, for me, I really enjoy it, Streets of Rage 1 and 2, and I'm not the biggest fan of 3. I'm really meh towards 3, and I really can't stand Golden Axe 1. However, it does progressively get better for it from 1, so I don't mind 2. I'm okay with 2, and 3 I kind of enjoy, so.
Fair enough. We'll have to agree to disagree this week, but that was an interesting battle. I'm glad we were able to put 2 Sega franchises that are in the same genre, but still very, very different. Oddly enough, made by the same developers.
Well, you got to give them props for kind of, in the same genre, yet kind of really approaching it with entirely two different directions there.
Right, yeah. I mean, in a lot, pretty much in every way, right? Oh, you know, was one thing I forgot to mention about Golden Axe 3 that was really odd to me is, to me, that music didn't carry over at all as well, just like Streets of Rage 3 sort of did.
Well, but I really thought, other than 2 had some decent music to it. 1's kind of sucked, so I'm pretty happy.
I like 1's, and 3, all it did is sound like they took the soundtrack of Shining Force and just tapped it on top.
Is that a bad thing, though?
Not necessarily, but it didn't fit because I was thinking like, hey, wait a minute, this is like the battle of Shining Force 1. I don't know if that's the case, if they actually did get the composer from Shining Force and a couple of other Genesis games. It was just like, this does not sound like Golden Axe. It sounds like it's ripped from some other Sega games. It's really strange to me. But yeah, let's stop beating on Golden Axe 3. At least I'll stop beating on Golden Axe 3 for now. But it's what would you say to them kind of revamping these franchises and bringing them back? Golden Axe has tried to come back with a couple of 3D games. There's been a sort of one-on-one fighting game. But what would you say to maybe a new Golden Axe game that was just straight up beat 'em up? What would you think about that?
I would pass.
And how about Streets of Rage?
Streets of Rage, I would give it a go.
Okay. I am kind of okay with them not doing more Streets of Rage. I don't know if they could get Yuzo Koshiro, the guy who did the music, to come back and kind of put the team together. It's nice to just have the trilogy. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing more for sure. But at the same time, I'm okay if it doesn't continue on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm perfectly content just playing 1 and 2 for Streets of Rage. So that's just how good those games are. So if they were to do another one, it almost kind of feel like a downer, because then you'd be like, oh man, this isn't going to even be close.
Right.
And then you're just going to be a really negative Nancy going into the game, and it's probably going to be one of the worst experiences for you.
Fortunately, it's possible.
So
I will tell you, if Golden Axe: The Revenge of Death Adder, though, the arcade game that has never come to consoles, if that came out, I would be really happy, because that's actually a really, really fun game. And it's 4-player. It'd be really cool if Sega would be willing to get that online and have 4 players. And it's cool. There's one of the characters on that. His magic is to cast food. He casts trees that come up, and then it drops food, and you can eat it to replenish your health, which is pretty awesome.
That's pretty convenient.
Yeah, so he's one of the cool guys. I think his name is Trixie. He's like a guy with a pitchfork, and he goes around stabbing guys. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, so that would be cool. I'd be really pleased if they could do that at the very least for us Golden Axe fans, those that are left, right? But yeah, well, you ready for another round of 10 degrees of comparison?
No, I'm afraid. Bring it.
All right. Well, this is going to be a different one. Usually we have a sort of at least kind of running theme with whether it's bosses or music or whatever. And this time we're just kind of, because we're putting 2 games together and they're quite different, there's just going to be some categories that you're just going to have to score. And I'll say if it's whether it's strictly Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, or both. Fair enough?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to go, first of all, characters to choose from. This is from both franchises. How would you rate just sort of the overall feel of the look of the characters, how they play, yada, yada, yada?
Golden Axe 1 or like the whole series?
The whole series of Golden Axe, the whole series of Streets of Rage. We won't go into too much details of breaking them all down. So let's say Golden Axe first.
Golden Axe, I would probably say like a 6.
Okay.
It's kind of subpar, personally. But not like atrocious. Right?
Below average, yeah. Okay.
Right. And Streets of Rage, I would definitely put up there at like 8.59.
Nice, nice. Cool. I'll give Golden Axe a 6.5 just because of the Manther. I like that character. I like the look of him. He's pretty fun to play as. And just, I think it's a cool
Sushi
character.
coming out as a closet furry.
Yes. Plus, as you said, in 3, the details are quite good for the characters, the main characters especially. And they did a really cool job of his detail. You just see like all of his muscles ripping and stuff. And even like the barbarian guy as well. They all look really good. So yeah, I give about a 6.5 for Golden Axe. And then Streets of Rage, I'm in about the same range as you. Probably about Zahn is not terrible for me, but he doesn't really raise it. I'd probably give it about 8.
It's all about Max and his
I like Max,
glorious muscles.
And his super tights with a star on the side of his leg.
Oh, baby.
Big old red boots.
And Blaze, I think Blaze just gets more whorish as this series goes on.
Yeah, she sort of does. And yeah, you definitely get that line. In 2, she's kind of approaching it, but not too terrible yet.
And then she is full slut mode by 3.
But even then, by 3, she pretty much has the exact same character model. It's just the palette swap makes her look sluttier for some reason. I don't know. It looks more like a bikini in the 3rd one somehow. I don't know how, but it does. And you got the Golden Axe chick. She's pretty much in a bikini too. So next one we have here is, this is strictly for Golden Axe. This is the magic. How do you feel about the magic? So just how it smells, how do they look?
I really like I'm 3.
What do you mean? You don't like the chicken nuggets in Golden Axe? There's that one where the earth comes up and it looks like chicken nuggets are flying out. It doesn't look like boulders at all.
I didn't think chicken nuggets.
Like chicken nuggets. Were they flying?
I guess with that remark, I guess I'd give it a 5 at
There was no sauce though. There's no.
It's still chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets are pretty delicious.
That'd be awesome if they were chicken nuggets and the enemies just ate them and died. They're like, oh,
or turn the enemies into chicken nuggets and then you eat them. How demented would that be?
Especially if the guy just had honey mustard in his back pocket or something. Where are you hiding that in your loincloth?
I don't know. I like the magic. Freaking, its presentation was pretty horrid.
It's pretty shitty.
It's pretty bad. I'll stick with the 4. 3.54 on that one.
even by 3, it still looks like shit. The Panther guy, it's like a shitty fog that comes in. Or the girl has the the dragon, but the dragon's face is right towards you, and it's like, bah, like breathes into your face kind of thing. It's really shitty.
The wannabe Conan has that wind.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the tornadoes.
It's all pixelated because it's trying to look huge. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So bad.
Yeah, it's very bad. So yeah, Magic. Yeah, I'll give it probably about you. I'll probably just give it a 5. It's amusing at least because it's funny, right? I can make jokes about it. In the first game, if I had to say one spell that I didn't mind, it's probably Gilius Thunderhead's Lightning in the first game, where it kind of drops on each character if you have it full. It's not the best, but it's better than a lot of the other ones.
But that's
and it's still not saying much. No, but it looks effective at least. Better than chicken nuggets and some weird mist coming across the screen or whatever. So yeah, okay. So Magic, that's enough of Magic. Okay, this is for both Golden Axe and Streets of Rage as a franchise, as a series. The normal enemies. So just like, what do you think again about the look? Maybe are they really annoying? That could be a factor for a negative. Are they easy to beat up on? Or is there certain guys you like to beat up on more than others? So what do you think about Golden Axe?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Come on, there's a bald mustache guy with a mace. Looks like he has no hand.
That's why it's a 6. It would have been a 5, but that's me being generous is kind of a 6. I don't know. I think a lot of the enemies seem very
generic again.
Very,
right?
very, very generic. I mean, Streets of Rage does have it too. But
yeah, but I guess the universe of Golden Axe, what you're working with, I guess you can only go so far, right?
Nonsense. You could have done something.
Well, they weren't going to have cybernetic, lizards.
I wasn't expecting cybernetic lizards, but I mean, they could have had something.
Dancing sharks with canes and
Yes,
stuff.
that would have sold me. Yes.
But yeah, I'm
Like people dressed in freaking shrubberies or
loincloths. I
something.
mean, what? We're all in loincloths pretty much. Loincloths or armor. That's it. And we got that giant bald mustache guy. I like that guy. He looks sort of like a cross between a sumo wrestler and Buddha and some biker dude. It's kind of what he looks like. Those guys all have names too. I can't think of their names, but something goofy like Big Brother and Little Brother or something weird. I don't know. Yeah, okay. I'll probably give you around the same score as you there. Probably about a 6. So what about Streets of Rage then?
Streets of Rage, I'd say more of a kind of with the variety, and even though I find some of them annoying, I love beating the hell out of those wannabe, kind of judo warlord masters with their
in the second game.
Yeah, with
the guys who were like, yo!
Yeah, they have those little energy blasts that go out like 2 feet from their, well, not even 2 feet, like 2 inches from their. I love beating the hell out of those guys. Yeah,
those guys. I like beating up on the 2 like generic guys from both 2 and 3, the Donovan and the guy with red hair, whatever. I like beating up on those guys. Those guys are fun. And I like beating up the fat guys. Once you learn their pattern and stuff, they're really satisfying to beat up too. Because especially in 2, if you have Axel and you do the uppercut, and they just fly up and they're just like, and then they hit and the whole screen shakes because they're so fat.
Right. I think 2. Yeah, they were pretty easy to beat on. So yeah, I'd say like an 8 or so.
Yeah, I would probably give it about. Oh, I hate those jet guys. Do you remember those jet guys?
Those jet guys are a pain in the ass, but
much more so in 3 than 2. But
yeah.
I'll probably give it an 8.5. There's a lot of color going on in Streets of Rage, and I really like that. All right, so that's a good one there. We got still a couple more here, and the next one is the difficulty. So how would you rate the difficulty, first of all, for Golden Axe?
What do you mean? Do you mean like how?
Just as you were progressing through, did you find it extremely frustrating? Was it not too bad? And we're talking about the whole series.
I know, but what do you mean though exactly by difficulty? Because you could say that just because it's difficult doesn't mean
your personal level of difficulty playing the game.
Just because it's difficult doesn't.
How difficult was the game for you then?
Well, okay, if I put it this way, I'm going to break it down into 2. You have the difficulty progression and if it's right.
Right.
Kind of melding those 2 together, I would say that it's probably about a 6. I really find that there's times where the difficulty doesn't quite match the progression.
Okay.
For Golden.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, there's definitely in 3 and stuff, especially when they start throwing at you like 3 of those knights and stuff, and they can block and everything.
Right.
It gets pretty damn tough. And we already mentioned them, the
Minotaur
guys, Minotaurs of Hades, whatever they are. Oh, those guys are tough. So I would probably say, as a whole, I mean, I can do Golden Axe 1 some justice in the sense that I think if you learn the patterns of the first game, it's not terrible. But I think 3 for me is very tough. So I'll probably give it about a 5.5 for difficulty. I think it is tough, but I think if you really sit down and you really get into the games, you can probably walk through them pretty good. What about Streets of Rage then?
I think it's pretty, for the series, it's pretty, other than 3.
Right.
But I think for the most part, it's very welcoming for people to play, and then you can get into, and it's very adjustable, and it's, if you want to make it a bit harder on yourself, by all means. Right. I'd probably say more so along the lines of like a 7.5.
Yeah, that's where I'm sitting at too, I think. And 7.5 doesn't mean that it's a difficulty in meaning it's hard, meaning it's an enjoyable difficulty that doesn't destroy you and want to throw the controller. There are points in 3 where you do that, but even then, I never felt really, really angry where I wanted to yell at the TV like I did in Golden Axe. Where it's tough and you get mad, but you're just like, oh, well, Streets of Rage, I'll just listen to the music or something.
The music subdues you.
Yeah, so it's definitely in the same category as you there for 3. And, sorry, for Streets of Rage, not just for 3. All right, just a couple more here, just quickly. Just 2 more, actually. Just strictly for Golden Axe, the mounts. So these would be all of the animal friends that you can ride and whatnot. I mean, in the first game, you've got the cockatrice and the 2 different dragons. And in the second game, you've got that weird kicking thing. I don't know what it is, some sort of dinosaur type creature. The third game, you've got those sort of snails and weird dinosaur type creatures again. What did you feel about those things?
2 sucked balls. Like,
yeah.
that thing's just so fucking hard.
And they get progressively worse. Actually, in the first game, they are effective in the first game, but in 2, crap. In 3, even worse. In 3, they don't do shit. That stupid snail thing where its tongue is even shorter range than your standing attack is pathetic. It's a piece of shit. And then you do get one that's got a longer range, but the problem is every time you go to use that tongue attack, they just jump over you and beat you down. And you do eventually get a dragon thing that can shoot flame, but it's so damn slow. Like, it's just, they're so useless. It's so sad. It's just, I'll probably give them, because in Golden Axe 1 they are effective and useful, 4. I don't know. Yeah, but they get progressively worse. They just become so crappy by the end. It's really unfortunate. I like the cockatrice thing though, with like spinning the tail. That's pretty satisfying. Like just beating those guys.
Mounts at all. None of them. I hate them all.
You don't even like the fireball dragon in the first game?
Nope. I don't like it. No, I really don't. I mean, they're a bit useful, but I don't like using them.
Yeah, they're difficult to use. They're just so cumbersome, right? You leave you to attack so easily. But of course, the computer can so effectively use them because you're always surrounded, and then there's this dragon just going wah, like breathing fire on you. It's like, oh crap. Okay, so the last one here is we're going to compare. I already know which one you're going to choose and give the higher score to, but I'm just still curious. Golden Axe, Streets of Rage series, musical scores. So as the overall music for both. I'm just curious how you feel as a whole.
Overall music for Golden Axe, 3. I really don't.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay, just 3. I'm a little surprised at being that low, but okay.
I really don't like it at all.
See, I told you, Golden Axe 3 just lifted the music from Shining Force. I knew it.
but no, most of the music I really didn't like. And I think also what kind of goes into that as well is the sound effects for the game.
Yeah. I
felt that the sound effects in Golden Axe were horrid.
Right.
They're just really jarring to me. It's just like, oh, shut up. Like usually that doesn't. I'm not too hell bent on wanting to mute sound, but that was definitely one that was the case.
Fair enough. All right, I'm gonna give it a 6. I don't mind the music in 2, as you said, is pretty good, and 1 I like a lot. 3 kind of brings it down a lot for me. Well, I'll give it a 6.5. I'll edge it up just a bit. 6 point for me.
And then
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage, I'd say 9. There's most of the music I like. 3s, I think, is kind of what brings it down a little bit because I really like a lot of. There's some in 1 that are really hit and miss with me. There's some that I really, 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 really like, and other songs in 1 that I'm just like, fuck, this is horrible.
Right.
But 2s, I enjoy most of 2's soundtrack, and then 3's really kind of. So I'd say.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to go 9 as well. I think even though 3 is a little bit on the outside of the other 2 games, it's still a pretty cool soundtrack. It's very different than a lot of the other things you definitely hear on the Genesis with the sort of not so great sound card, especially compared to the SNES, right, with the Genesis there. It's quite impressive to see how much sound can come out of that system. And Yuzo Koshiro did an excellent job with that entire soundtrack. Did you have a favorite track by any chance? Mine is actually Streets of Rage 1, Stage 4 on the bridge.
That's a really, really good one.
Song. I really like it.
Excuse me, I really enjoyed that one.
I know I'm putting you on the spot there a little bit. And
yeah, I really like that one. The bridge one, even though it's got the fat ass at the end.
But he doesn't have the same music, so.
Right. He doesn't have the same music.
I actually also really like Stage 7 from the first game on the elevator. I like that song a lot too.
Oh, it's not too bad. I like that one.
But I know one's got cool music. It's that rawness to it. Yeah.
I can't. Other than that one from 1 really does stick out in my head the most.
Right.
But I really do like a lot of 2s.
Cool. One funny fact, actually, is because you mentioned the sound effects from Golden Axe, And I'm going to give the sound effects for Golden Axe, this particular sound effect area, a 9 out of 10. And that is the death screams from Golden Axe, which I think are awesome. As good as some of the ones in Streets of Rage are, I think the ones in Golden Axe are so satisfying. Particularly the first game. Just the other guys like, yeah, and you know what's funny? Those are digitized sound effects from Conan the Barbarian, the movie.
Well, I guess that makes it pretty sweet then.
It's pretty damn awesome, actually. So yeah, well, that's a pretty elongated look at two of Sega's very classic franchises there.
Hey man, that's 6 games. 6 games of...
It was fun. It was fun to go back and play
ass beatery.
Even when I had trouble with games like Golden Axe 3 and Streets of Rage 3, it was still fun to go back and try to hammer it out with them.
Now you know what time it is.
I do. It is time for Detective Gamer.
Da-da-da.
So you got the clue there ready to go?
I do. For the do you happen to want to give the answer for the last one? What's the answer? ...
The answer for the last Detective Gamer is, drumroll, Maximo. Maximo was the game we were looking for, and a little foggy on the clues. One clue was a 6th generation game. Mm-hmm. It was a spiritual successor, and death will cost you. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
Cool. And then I believe we sort of had a bit of a muck-up on the visual clue. Is that right?
That was my fault. I put in, instead of an actual visual clue, I put in a subtitle.
Little caption or whatever.
Annotation. So,
that's
my bad, guys. Sorry.
It's all good.
Actually, that clue was pretty helpful, though. So if you...
I'm sure it was, yeah. But yeah, please keep sending us if you have any ideas for the oh man, my brain is just farting out here. For any
if you have any answers.
Yes, thank you, Taylor.
But please email them to bananastand@fastmail.fm.
Yes, please do. So why don't we get on with today's next challenge?
Sure, and these are the clues. Clue number 1. Game came out on the PS1 and the N64, but under different names. Also, it was on the PC, and eventually in Japan it was released on the PSP. There are 3 games in the series, and Catalox Island. It's a pretty easy one, guys.
Well,
laying it up there for you.
Yeah, maybe. Personally, I didn't really quite gather the last clue there, but we'll see. We've got intelligent people out there on the internet, so.
And the internet is at their fingertips.
That's sometimes what makes them intelligent. Sometimes. All right, well, why don't we wrap it up here?
Wrap it up, sure. But yeah, that was...
pretty long portable today, as you said, because of the 6 games. So.
Yeah, but no, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed going and diving into a genre I don't play as often as certain other genres. So. Yeah,
it was fun. And I've played a lot of these games for a number of years. And Streets of Rage 2 is a funny one for me. I remember my friend, as I've told you, Taylor, I have a sort of Frankenstein Genesis, and my friend this was in the dead of winter, it's probably minus 30 out. He's like, why don't we sleep in a tent in the garage? And I was like, that's awesome. And it wasn't so awesome, but we brought the TV out. It was at least minus 30 out. And this was around Christmas time, snow's outside, it's really cold. And we're sitting in this tent with maybe 2 or 3 blankets or something. And we're sitting in the tent, and we've got the Genesis pumping, and we're both thinking like, this thing is just going to freeze or it's going to blow up because of the weather. And we're pumping through Streets of Rage 2. And long story short, my friend ended up trying to light matches inside the tent because he was cold in the middle of the night. Really, really random. He ended up burning a hole through the tent, yada, yada, yada. But it was fun to play Streets of Rage and be frozen out in a garage in Meister weather. So that's a part of my experience with Streets of Rage 2, and partly why I love it so much. So.
Well, thank you for sharing.
But yeah, go out and check these games out. If you have not checked out the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive collection, they are all available on there, which is a great package of games. Even if you're not a huge Sega fan, you might still trip on something that you really like. There's some RPGs. There's all kinds of games on there. So give it a shot.
Yeah, good package deal for that
Yeah,
compilation.
$20 or something now, right? It's quite cheap, so.
So definitely give it a go there, because with those 6 games, you don't even have to unlock anything. They're available right from the get-go.
Right.
Which is pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening, and have a good day.